ABC6 investigates. Cops distracted behind the wheel, crashing their cruisers and in some cases hitting property or people. Investigator Brooks Jarosz uncovers the long list of wrecks and what it's costing you. Brooks?
Well, as we dug through police reports, we only counted the incidents where officers were at fault and disciplined. Still, over the last 3 years, Columbus police racked up nearly 400 of those cases. On a robbery call, a Columbus cop crashes into a car. The driver and passengers say they never heard or saw the cruiser until the last moment. The initial police report accused the officer of not taking all necessary precautions.
Today, there are so many distractions for the officer.
Those distractions, like the radio, computer, and camera, account for nearly half of the roughly 12 at-fault Columbus cruiser crashes every month. Just like this one during a high-speed robbery run between two cop cars. In another case, an officer was involved in a chase, lost control, and hit a pole, bringing down the power lines. Between 2011 and 2013, Columbus officers were disciplined 380 times for wrecking cars. We found on average annually, CPD has about 75 cases of careless or distracted driving, 35 incidents of backing into something, and 15 incidents of driving too fast for conditions. The Fraternal Order of Police says those numbers are in line with the amount of risky driving officers do.
We're talking about hundreds and hundreds of officers over millions and millions of hours.
For comparison, ABC6 investigators requested at-fault records from other law enforcement agencies. We did find a sheriff's deputy who had 3 wrecks in 2 weeks. Over the past 3 years, Franklin County deputies smashed and crashed 152 times. Delaware County deputies about 33. Ohio State Highway Patrol troopers damaged property or caused injury 392 times. Officers were found at fault for minor things like getting out of a cruiser while it's still running and in gear, distracted by a report falling off the dash and hitting a pole, or sideswiping a fire hydrant. But other cases like this one involving a Delaware City police officer are much more serious. Caroline Welker had the right of way and was simply crossing the street.
Are you okay?
I just couldn't see him, and he obviously didn't see me.
It was Thanksgiving night last year when this Ohio Wesleyan basketball player was unsure if she would ever return to the hardwood. She spent weeks recovering.
It's just a blessing to be back and being able to be healthy and playing with everyone.
Welker is still left with a pile of medical bills. The officer was cited for excessive speeding and failing to yield. He was suspended for 1 day and had to pay a $135 fine.
I didn't see her.
Are officers being held accountable?
Oh, absolutely. Again, we don't escape discipline or punishment for being involved in a crash.
2 weeks earlier, another Delaware City police officer says he never saw a woman crossing the street. She wasn't hurt. Even though the officer tried to stop, he was counseled on driving cautiously. Still, hundreds of law enforcement officers across the state are counseled, reprimanded, or suspended each month following at-fault accidents.
Discipline is meant to discourage certain behaviors. It's meant to alter your behavior and make sure you're doing things that are appropriate.
The cost to repair damaged cruisers totals thousands of dollars every year. Settlements and payouts for at-fault cruiser crashes adds up too. Columbus police paid out nearly $24,600 last year. Franklin County about $5,000. Delaware County a little more than $5,000, and Ohio State Highway Patrol nearly $38,000. Police studies show the overall number of accidents per officer is far less than you and me, considering the number of miles officers drive every day. I'm investigator Brooks Jarosz, ABC6 News.
Thanks, Brooks. If you have a tip for Brooks and the ABC6 investigators, give them a call at 255 News, or you can send them an email to tips@abc6onyourside.com. Brooks can also be found on Facebook and Twitter.